Namaste, dear all. A warm welcome to you all for this introductory session on Upanishad by Dr. Vishwanath. I am Savita, one of the founders of Swabha Foundation. Discourse on Upanishad is a humble attempt by Swabha Foundation to bring in major textual reading on Upanishads and their relevance in modern day. Few words about Swabha. Swabha means self-lit, Swayam Bhati, and our tagline being Karmanyaiva hi samsiddhi. Light yourself and reach perfection by come together to work on propagating, preserving, and enriching Indian culture through heritage, tradition, and discourses, chanting, cultural trips, celebrations, and Sanskrit classes. We are glad to have with us Dr. Vishwanath, a Sanskrit scholar and a Jyotisha expert. He was awarded PhD from BHU Varanasi. He is an adjunct professor in the Department of Heritage Science and Technology at IIT Hyderabad. Dr. Vishwanath's research areas include Sanskrit literature, Ramayana, Sankhya philosophy, Nimitta, Shakuna, and Halita Jyotisha. He has delivered various talks on the same. It's our honor and privilege to have you as a speaker for the next few months, sir. A warm welcome to you. We shall begin the session by lamp lighting and offering prayers to Almighty. I request Dr. Vishwanath and Dr. Arvind Bhatt, who is also one of the founders of Swabha and Pillar, to light the lamp. Dr. Arvind, please join Dr. Vishwanath. A warm welcome to offline participants and also online participants once again. Dhanyavada. Over to you, sir.
Namaste. I hope I am audible. Om Yoma Bhaginagam Santamatha Bhaganchikirishati Abhagamagne Tankuruma Magne Bhaginankuru. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Virtyankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shabdarthabhavibhuvana srujatindurupa या तद्बिभर्ति पुनः अर्कतनुस्वशक्त्या वह्न्यात्मिका हरति तत्सकलं युगान्ते तां शारदां मनसि जातु न विस्मरामि तां शारदां मनसि जातु न विस्मरामि. Welcome everyone, those who are present in front of my eyes, Pratyaksham, Akshnaf Prati, those who are present, and those who are also present through a media or through the medium. I think the plural is rather a good word here, because someone might have joined via laptop, someone through phone. Therefore, the plural sounds good here. So today marks the beginning of a series of lecture that has been planned. Before we begin the journey on Upanishads, uh, we just need to take a look at the title that has been given for this entire program: Upanishad, Relevance in Modern Day. Each and every word carries its own weightage. What do we mean when we use the word modern day? What do we mean by relevance? And eventually, what is Upanishad? As long as we do not have the correct knowledge of this entire program, it would rather seem that we don't have an idea where this is headed, where this is going. Before we set our journey, we need to have an understanding of the destination. The destination is Upanishad. Even though the word Upanishad is used in the beginning, relevance in modern day, but relevance in modern day is only to be proven when we prove the Upanishad's relevance in modern day. Eventually, it will land us in Upanishad. Landing in Upanishad is what matters the most for us, because the meaning of Upanishad itself is Brahma Vidya. Adi Shankaracharya, in his commentary in the Bhashya Bhumika of Kathopanishad, he refers to Upanishad, the word Upanishad, and he shows the derivation of the word. And while discussing on that topic, which we will discuss in the upcoming stages, he mentions that Upanishad means Vidya, and at the end, while concluding it, Adi Shankaracharya says that Upanishad is Brahma Vidya. Where else have we heard this word Brahma Vidya? The word Brahma has plenty of interpretations as we go along. Sometimes the word could generate a kind of dislike. I would not use the word hatred, but some sort of dislike, owing to the fact that the word Brahma is common with a certain community. Is that what the word Brahma exactly means here? Or we would have heard about Brahmarshi or Brahmajnana. It's not only in these aspects that the word Brahma is used. It would be, for some people, it would be surprising to know that our ancient political system, the Arthashastra or the Dandaniti or the Rajaniti, is entirely built upon two important aspects, two major pillars of our entire political system. And it is surprising that Brahma happens to be one of those pillars. Brahma and Kshatriya. These are the two pillars on which entire political system is built. Chaturvaranyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Even there, when we discuss about the Varnas, Brahma happens to be the first Varna. Sometimes in the Shastras, we find that the word Brahma is used in the meaning of Brahmana. Brahmana does not refer to a person. It is an idea, it is an ideology that is built on the meaning of word Brahma. Upanishad and Brahma are inseparable. If they are so inseparable in nature, then what is the necessity for its relevance? Somebody asked me this question, that why should we prove Upanishad's relevance? I would like to begin the talk by answering that question, because one person might have asked that question, but let us not forget that we might also have had that question, that what is the necessity for us to prove relevance of any of our Indian knowledge system? If it is eternal, if it is inevitable, if it is going to stay forever, for anything that is that comes under the purview of evergreen, what is the necessity of proving its relevance? It makes no sense at all. Do we need to prove our relevance every day? Now, my teacher used to give us an example. Do you think our heart, our brain, and our stomach has the necessity to prove its relevance every single day? It does. What if the heart decides to not showcase its relevance for one day? Not one day, 1 minute. We are no more. We are pronounced dead. There are certain things who are evergreen, who work tirelessly and continuously and consistently, and yet they are proving their relevance every single second. Our effort is only to realize that they are continuously relevant, they are evergreen, and they are relevant. And that is the effort that we are trying to make here. We all know that Upanishad is ever relevant. If it was so ever relevant, then why is it not a part of our life? We know that heart is relevant, whether it is in the young age, whether at the youth or at adulthood. Heart is always relevant. When we know that, then we have made heart a part of our life. We take care of it once we get to know. But unfortunately, we have not understood the relevance of Upanishad. It is relevant. We are not trying to prove Upanishad's relevance on its own merit. We are trying to understand that Upanishad is relevant. When we prove anything's relevance, it becomes a part of our life. It becomes a part of our daily routine. And that is what we are trying to achieve here, by understanding how Upanishads can be a part of our day-to-day activities, day-to-day life. Otherwise, there is no point. We will simply say that our country had Vedas, Vedas had everything. That's a common statement that becomes boring, especially for the younger generation. If we keep on saying that everything is in Vedas, all great thoughts have been thought by our rishis. Fine, they have thought. What have we done? We have done nothing at all. And just to remember what Abraham Lincoln said in the US about his country: ask not what your country has done to you, ask what you have done to your country. The same thing needs to be understood in this context as well. Ask not what our rishis have done to us, ask what we have done to our rishis. So we need to understand that fact, that for example, if there is a scientist and if he has discovered something spectacular that helps the people, that helps the people to survive, how do we pay our tribute to that scientist? By using that particular thing to its fullest potential. My teacher used to give us one more example. Uh, I was a little bit hesitant to use that example initially because everybody knows about that particular incident. Imagine, because he gave this example when the computers were very new, the idea of computer was very new. Nowadays, everybody knows it. Imagine the, the person who invented computer, who gifted it to the world. He has so much of idea behind it. But I am the first consumer of that computer, and I will say to that inventor that I am going to use this computer only to write down the list of groceries that I require every month. There is nothing wrong. You can use computer for writing down the grocery list for every month. There is nothing wrong at all. But would it please the inventor of that computer? It would not please him. He would not say it out loud, saying that that this is not done. But he would rather appreciate if we understood and utilized the complete potential of that invention. Likewise, it was our rishis who gifted us this Upanishad. They brought us uh, these Upanishads till now. And if we are not going to use it to its fullest potential, if we are simply going to sing the glory and praises of Upanishad, nowhere else in the world literature will you find literature such as Upanishad. Fine, we know that. But what have we done in order to inculcate and imbibe the things that are spoken about in Upanishad. Only when we do such kind of things, that's when the relevance is relevant to us. The relevance itself is irrelevant to us as of now. We know that Upanishads have relevance, but have we understood its relevance? The answer is no. And therefore, the relevance needs to be told, and relevance needs to be uh, evidentially put in our mind. The word relevance is defined as the quality or state of being closely connected, or in other words, appropriateness, being appropriate. That's how the word relevance has been defined. Now, if this is how relevance is perceived, appropriateness or closely connected, how closely are we connected to Upanishad? That's the first question. And when we say closely connected, or when we use the word connected or connection, what sort of connection are we looking at? When we sit on a mat or when we sit on a chair, we are connected to that chair. But whenever we want, we can disconnect ourselves from that particular chair. And then there are few things that are so completely imbibed and so completely connected that it's almost impossible for us to perceive one thing without the other. For example, anything, a red pot, maybe, or a red cloth. That cloth cannot be perceived, or the color red cannot be perceived without the either one. It's so mixed together that we need both. When we say a red cloth, our mind has processed both the knowledge of cloth as well as of the color red. So there are several types of perceptions in order to understand that closely connectedness. And that closely connectedness is what relevance means. How closely are we connected to Upanishadic truths? Now, it's unfortunate that while speaking in English, I have to use the word Upanishadic truth. Because the moment we use the word Upanishadic truth, it gives the sense that there are some other truths as well. And fortunately or unfortunately, Vedanta also uses such kind of words. Pratibhasika Satya, Atyantika Satya, these kind of words. Satya is Satya. It, when we use the Visheshana, when we add an adjective to the Satya, to the truth, it always begs the question that is there more than one kind of truth? Be whatsoever it may. The point was only to remind ourselves that the Upanishadic truth is the ultimate truth, and that truth needs to be closely connected with our day-to-day life. That is the relevance that is in question. And what do we mean by modern? It says that relevance in modern day. The word modern is defined, and all these definitions are taken from Oxford Dictionary because it seems relevant that they are the industry standard. Therefore, the definition is taken from there. Because I don't know, I'm not from the English background. If it is Sanskrit, I would know that this is the gold standard for definitions. But when it comes to English, I am forced to say all these things because today is the generation, the world is moving in such a way that everybody have their own freedom to identify themselves. Somebody may say that I define modern in a different way. And world has to accept. It has become such a ridiculous place. I'm sorry. So therefore, the definition is taken from the Oxford Dictionary. The word modern is defined as characterized by or using the most up-to-date techniques, ideas, or equipment. Upanishad truth is always relevant. That's true. That's agreed. That's a given. But in order to closely connect ourselves with the Upanishadic truth, we need a modern equipment. We need modern ideas. We need modern technologies. Therefore, the title of this entire program that has been planned by Swabha Foundation, which reads as Upanishad Relevance in Modern Day, each and every word has a meaning. You cannot misplace, forget about removing. I'm saying we cannot even misplace a single word in this entire title. Upanishad is achieved. That's why I gave a small hint about what Upanishad means. Upanishad is Brahma Vidya, that is the truth. The truth is achieved, or we get closely connected. Relevance, we get closely connected. It becomes appropriate to us through the modern technology, the modern ideas, and other equipments. And only then Upanishad stays with us for a very long time. And there is one more thing. Uh, we can also refer to an example. I usually refer to this example because it makes more sense. Although the person in question is not so popular and mostly the most disliked person in Indian cricketing fan community. Uh, Whatever it is, but I happened to come across this particular incident in his autobiography. The person in question is Ricky Ponting. He was Australia's greatest batsman. In his autobiography, he pens a particular anecdote where he was questioned by one of his mates, one of his fellow players. He was going out to play his last game ever, and he was still preparing himself like he used to prepare for every big game. That fellow, his friend, asked him that you have already achieved so many things. There is nothing left for you to achieve. So if you skip all the traditionally what you usually do, if you skip the practice for one day, even if you don't perform well one day, there is nothing to be lost. You will still be remembered for a long time. Then why do you have to put so much of pressure on yourself? The response given by Ricky Ponting is rather astonishing to many. He said that it's true that I play for my country or my team. I represent my team. I play for the team and for its victory. But that's not all a player does. There is something, there is some another responsibility, added responsibility on a player's shoulders. And that is that they are always answerable to the public that pay and come to watch them. Many people might have watched me play and they have been regulars. But there might be in that stand, there might be one small fellow, small guy. For the very first time, he has attended that match, and he has built up this in his mind that I am going to watch Ricky Ponting play. What if Ricky Ponting fails to deliver on that particular day? So we cannot take any rest as a cricket player if he can have this much of idea. Why can't we, the great land of Upanishads, have the idea that if we miss on saying and following and imbibing the Upanishadic truth even one day, there are thousands of people watching over us. Okay, fine. This might sound an alien example. Can you come up with an indigenous example? Yes, I can come up with an indigenous example. Who better than Arjuna? Arjuna said that Nakankshe Vijayan Krishna Nacharajyam Sukhani Cha. What will I do with all these things? So let me go back, let me get into sannyasa, and I don't want to be a Kshatriya anymore, I don't want to fight anymore. What was the response of Krishna? There are 15 things that Krishna actually told Arjuna in terms of Lotlakara, in terms of an order, in terms of you should do this. The first one amongst them is Tam Stitiksha Swabhara. Practice Titiksha. Stop acting like this. Stop acting cowardly. You should not run away from your duties. Point number one. And then he says that, have you forgotten that you are a warrior? And you made some lengthy promises, not only to your brother and the army that has followed you, but you also know that back in the kingdom, there are hundreds and thousands of small children, young people who look up to you. They are anxiously waiting that Arjuna, we don't know because we cannot determine that victory shall be any one person's in war, in battle. I have not gone through the entire Mahabharata because I have not found such words in Mahabharata, but I can quote profusely from Ramayana where Valmiki says this from the mouth of Rama. He says that Naikanta Vijayam Yuddhe. Ekanta Vijaya is impossible in Yuddha. Ekanta Vijaya means definitive victory is impossible. That's why our hero, that is Rama, he falls unconscious. He fell down. Usually, our concept, our idea of hero is that he never falls down. That's wrong. He falls down, but he had the ability to stand up and fight for Dharma. And, and he set an example that you should never quit. Rama never quit. He had plenty of chances. There comes a point where Indrajit and also Ravana, they bring Maya Sita and they kill her in front of him. He still was okay. He still thought that the work needs to be done. I should not stop it. Even when the Maya Sita, for him it was not Maya Sita, it looked like a real Sita. Even then he was not upset. But when Lakshmana fell unconscious for the third time, Rama felt that no, I have lost all purpose in my life. He says that Shakya Sita Samanari Martyaloke Vichinnate. You can find another Sita in this world if you search hard enough. But you cannot find another brother like Lakshmana. Let us go back. If you want to fight, you fight. I don't have any intention of fighting. He was on the verge of quitting, but he never quit. But Arjuna was also on the verge of quitting. The only difference between Rama and Arjuna is Rama understood. He had the ability to dig deeper into himself and bring himself out of that depression. Whereas Arjuna needed someone, and that was a Krishna there. And he said that warriors, whoever it may be, they all wait for only one thing. You may ask any soldier this question, they will all answer the same thing. If you ask any soldier that, if you offer any soldier that, see, you would get to serve in the army for 30 years without any war, without any fight, but you can live with dignity. You say no. No soldier would ever want that because that's not Kshatra. That's not Kshatra Dharma. The Kshatra Dharma dictates that they want to find a war where they can fight on behalf of Dharma. That's why Krishna called it as Dharmyam Yuddham. Dharma, the anapetam dharmyam. That's how the word dharmya is defined. That which is not moved away from dharma, that which never goes away from the path of dharma is called as dharmya. And it was such kind of a battle. And warriors, they seek this kind of a battle, and you are ready to walk away. And what happens is you will get apakirti. People will talk about even after you are long gone. There was a great man once upon a time, but he came back without fighting from the battlefield. We call him Arjuna. Do you want this? That put Arjuna under serious consideration because nobody wants that. Especially if you are a warrior and if someone is going to say that this is how we are going to define you for the rest of your life, even after you are long gone, this is how we are going to define you. A man who went to battlefield but came back without fighting. Is it okay with you? That is the example. The example is that it doesn't matter how good you were in school, in Drona school, in under Drona's tutelage, you were the greatest ever student. You were the most skillful. Does it really matter? If you are the most skillful, then you prove every single day of your life. That's how relevance exists in this world. The sun is relevant. The moon is relevant. The rivers are relevant. Fire is relevant. None of them move away from their job. They don't even flinch from their job, even for a second. That's what relevance means. So, if we are going to understand Upanishad, then we need to understand Upanishad in this intensity. If we are simply going to understand a line that is written in Sanskrit and its meaning in the English, then you don't need me. We don't need all these things, isn't it? Because there are plenty of other equipments available for that. There are websites, there are books, people can refer that. Our intention here is to intensely understand the Upanishadic truth that is hidden in each and every line. There is so much of onus put on Upanishads. that every single one of the philosophers, they have tried to understand Upanishads. Nobody can skip past Upanishads. Everyone needs Upanishads. In fact, the most popular Bhagavad Gita, which happens to be one of the Prasthanatraya, there are three important pillars of Vedanta. The first one is Brahma Sutram. The second one is the Upanishads. The third one is Bhagavad Gita. Now, how do you draw a triangle? It's up to you. How do you arrange these three is up to you. But when it comes to Bhagavad Gita, they have said that Sarvo Upanishado Gavaha. All the Upanishads are the cow, the cattle. And Dogdha Gopalanandana, the one who is going to milk those cows, is Gopalanandana, that is Krishna. And Partho Vatsaha. I think you must have known this. Cows don't give milk to us. They give their milk only when you place the calf right in front of it. Otherwise, they won't give. It's impossible to milk a cow if you do not place the calf right in front of it. That's why Arjuna was the calf here. He was just a nimittam. Krishna wanted to get the essence of all the Upanishads. The essence of all Upanishads is Bhagavad Gita. I know this is not an introduction to Bhagavad Gita, but how fortunate are we in order to understand the nuances, the intricacies of the cows themselves. You know, we have read Bhagavad Gita, we have understood the essence of Bhagavad Gita, but now is the time to understand its original source. The source of Bhagavad Gita are these Upanishads. And without these Upanishads, our entire philosophy, our entire idea of life, not even philosophy, I should not use the word philosophy that easy. Our idea of life collapses. We have no idea of life, just like how the rest of the world doesn't have. That's why most of the philosophers in the world have tried to define the idea of life. That's very difficult to find. But we are fortunate enough because the idea of life has been told in these Upanishads, and they were once upon a time very much a part and parcel of our day-to-day life. There was not a single day without going through, without the Swadhyaya, without the repetition of Upanishadic truth. At the end of Gurukula Vasa, this is what the Guru used to say. Matra Devo Bhava, Pitra Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava. All these things are secondary. What is the first ever thing that was told by Guru during that Upadesha? Vedamanochi Acharyo Ante Vasini Manushasti, Satyam Vada Dharmanchana. The third one, top three. If you have to take the top three Upadeshas of a Guru at the end of anybody's program in Gurukulam, the third one is Swadhyaya Pravachanabhyam. And then comes Deva Pitra Karyabhyam. Whether it is Deva Puja or Pitra Puja, whatever the activities are, they are all secondary. First and foremost thing is we must not forget about Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is vital. What is Swadhyaya? To know about ourselves, to know what we truly are. And for that, there is no better text than Upanishads. We are trying to achieve that Swadhyaya. And this Swadhyaya was also one of the important features that gave us Ramayana. Tapaswadhyaya Niratam. They could have used any other word. Valmiki never had any depth of words like us. He knew plenty of words, but he defined both Narada as well as Valmiki. He needed to bring them on par with one another. And the word he used, the adjective that he gave to both of them is tapaswadhyaya. Swadhyaya. Mere tapas is not sufficient. We have Vedas, we have Upanishads, we have Bhagavad, everything we have. But if we do not utilize it, if we do not put it into practice, that putting all these Upanishads into practice is Swadhyaya. That Swadhyaya is required. And how do we determine or how do we understand Upanishads in the context of Swadhyaya is what our aim is. Not merely understanding the lines of Upanishad. If we were to understand only the lines of Upanishad, as I said, I am not the best one. And for this, I doubt my abilities and capabilities and mistakes. These people have thought that I am capable enough. fellow is there. So I believe in him, not me. The thing that Arjuna did, when he said that, if you are with me, then there is nothing to worry. So it will be taken care of. Anyway, so this was the first segment that I wanted to clear. I have taken half an hour for that. The first segment is to understand this entire program, the title of the program. That's very important, I guess. Upanishad, relevance in modern day. How are we going to approach this entire program? We are going to approach in the way that is going to be intense, in the way that Upanishad, the truth, becomes a part and parcel of our life from here onwards. I know it is difficult because theoretically it's very easy for me to speak. Practically, how difficult it is. To apply all those things is highly difficult. I know that. I know that for a fact. But still, if we do not set our aim higher, then there is no point at all in leading a life. Now, finally, we have arrived at that junction where we need to understand what is Upanishad. The word Upanishad is formed with the help of two prefixes, upa and ni. And the dhatu, the root word, is shadalr. It is pronounced as shadalr. It becomes sada. Shadalr. The meaning of the dhatu is visharana, gati, and avasada. Visharana is breaking, gati is the move, and avasadana is removal or killing. This is the dhatu of Upanishad. Now, please don't call that just based on the root word. This is also equivalent to other religious works. I'm not supposed to use the word, you understand. Okay. That even we have violence. No violence. Only the root word has some touch of violence, but that is not the kind of violence that we have understood or we perceive violence as such. This is point number one. Point number two is उपसर्गेण धात्वर्थः बलात् अन्यत्र नीयते. The magic of upasarga is that it takes the meaning, the original meaning of dhatvartha to certain extent, to such an extent, not even certain, to such an extent that we sometimes forget what was the original meaning again. It has that kind of power. There is one dhatu called as hring harane. The dhatu is hri, which means to take. And with that dhatu, with that root word, we have so many words, ahara, vihara, upahara. Somehow, somewhere, they have a deep connection to the original dhatvartha. But Upanishads have, Upasargas have the ability to take the meaning to certain level that is totally unexpected. Now, this Shadal Dhatu, which is used in three meanings, Visharana, Gati, and Avasadana, has two prefixes, Upa and Ni. Upa means proximity. Ni means definitive. Upa, Samipe, Nitaram. Nitaram means definitively, Sidati. It gets to us, it comes to us, it stays with us. That is what Upanishad means. Therefore, the first meaning of the word Upanishad is Vidya. Upanishad is defined as Vidya, and this definition is taken from the Kathopanishad Bhumika, Bhashya Bhumika of Shankaracharya. He says that Upanishad means Vidya. Then you said that this was with the meaning of the word Gati, because there is Jnanam involved. Vidya Jnane, Ya Prapane, that's how the word Vidya is formed. Vidya, the word Vidya itself, in itself, is merely a combination of two dhatus, two root words. The first root word is Vid. Vid means Jnanam, knowledge, self-knowledge. And Ya means Prapanam. That which takes us towards that self-knowledge is called as Vidya. Everything and anything that takes us towards self-knowledge is termed as Vidya. And from which exact specific meaning of this dhatu did Adi Shankaracharya arrive at this conclusion? Gatyartha. The Shadalra dhatu has gati, and there is a rule in Sanskrit Vyakarana which says that all Gatyartha dhatu, that is, any dhatu that gives the meaning of movement, They can be used in the meaning of knowledge as Sarve Gatyarthakaha Jnana. Not everyone knows about this. Therefore, Vidya, Upanishad, is derived from that meaning of the Shatarupa Dhatu. Gati, Gati means Jnana. Therefore, Vidya. The second meaning is you said that this is Visharanam. What Visharanam does happen here? Visharanam means himself. What is violently removed from here? It's very simple. What is removed? Avidya Visharanam. That which is against self knowledge, that which takes us away from self knowledge, is called as avidya. And that avidya, and that avidya needs to be removed. And that's exactly what they mean when they say Upanishad. Upanishad not only leads us, not only gets us to the Brahma Vidya or to Vidya, the self knowledge. In that process, during that process, it also removes all the avidya, the impacts of avidya, the descendants of avidya. Whatever it needs to be clear. Therefore, the process is also sometimes referred as Upanishad. The destination is also Upanishad, that is Brahma Vidya. The process involved, where we have to remove the clouds of avidya, is also called as Upanishad. And any work that involves, that encompasses the details regarding all these things, can also be called in the secondary sense as Upanishad. The word Upanishad that we have known so far is in the secondary sense. We are calling a particular book as Upanishad. Why are we calling a book as Upanishad? Because that book carries the process involved in achieving, in attaining self knowledge. Originally, that self knowledge is Upanishad. The process involved is Upanishad. Any work that documents all these things can also be called as Upanishad. So we are at the last tip, at the last end. We need to take a journey from the documents that we have and then understand the process, go through the process, and become the Adhyatma Vidya. This is the difference. We don't understand Brahma Vidya. We don't comprehend Brahma Vidya. Because as long as we are understanding and comprehending anything, there exists division. There exists separate things. I am understanding Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya is the destination. I is a particular person. He is the perceiver. And the process of understanding is there. This is called as Triputi. And that Triputi needs to be removed, where you become that. No river has ever come back from the ocean and identified itself as, I am that river which entered this particular ocean. Has it ever happened in nature? Never happens. And how come you call it as Ganga has entered that ocean? It bore the name of Ganga as long as it flew independently. The moment it enters into ocean, it loses its identity. There is no such thing called as Ganga anymore when it enters into the river. At the last end, I think we can see that in Kolkata, the Ganga Sagar Sangam, they call, where Ganga can be seen. That's the last end of Ganga. Before it enters into the ocean, we can see that Ganga. And that's exactly the location of Upanishad. Everything depends on location, isn't it? Location is vital. What is the location of Upanishad? Where were these rishis? Where were our rishis located when they documented Upanishad? If we say that they had attained samadhi and at that samadhi they documented all these things, we would be telling a lie, because it's not possible. Najivitam no maranam vichitram, Adi Shankara calls it. How do you define the samadhi? Upanishads do not even bother about defining samadhi. There are 4 stages of life according to Upanishads. Okay. See, in this lecture, there will be trivia, there will be facts as well. But the problem is, I think you have all experienced, those facts and that trivia will not come in a particular format. It comes. You just have to connect the dots later on. It's rather easy. That's homework. What will you do for the next 2 weeks, isn't it? So, so, yeah, you need to listen again and again and connect the dots later on. Yeah. My teacher used to teach us like this. This was his style. It took me 1 year. Every single day, I have heard his lecture. 2 hours a day, he has spoken. 365 days. You multiply it. How many hours I have heard him? At the end of every lecture, he used to ask only one question, 10 minutes. It was not question answers. There was no room for question answers. He used to ask pratikriya, because that is the proper way, the traditional way of teaching. He used to ask pratikriya, feedback. And we used to fear of that feedback. That last 10 minutes, we wanted to escape from him, because he used to ask us this question, that what did you take from this lecture? How will you articulate what did you take from this lecture? If I ask this question to you, if I took a small break here, and if I asked you this question, what did you take from these 40 minutes? What will be your answer? It's like okay, you speak well. That's a given. Okay, we are not worried about it. We are not bothered. What exactly did you understand, or what did you take? And then he used to ask another question in Kannada, that beautiful Kannada, and our language. He used to ask that the thing that you have heard as of now. There are two languages in southern India where we use this kind of line. Manasig Banta. This is in Kannada. Manasig Banta. Whatever you say, at the end we ask this question even to small children, Manasig Banta. And the same thing is asked in Malayalam as well. Manasulayo. They ask the same thing. Why is it that you ask that Manasigi Banta? What is it with mind and perceiving? And he used to go beyond another step, and he used to ask one more question to us. And that question was, Hitavagitta. How do you define Hita? I have not been able to understand how to put the feeling of Hita in words. We eat idli, right? Idli, if it is too hot, if you cannot even break that idli with your hand, do you call it as Hita? If the coffee is too hot, would it, will we call it as Hita? No. If it is too cold, we don't call it as Hita. What is that balance? That is Hita. And at the end of lecture, and this question was repeated to us twice a day for 1 year, and I never had an answer. Never. And even he used to speak like this. The question used to be like, was Rama right in killing Vali? Just for example, he would talk about dharma. He would talk about some other things. He would talk about Vyakarana, Mimamsa, Dharma. Like, what was the question again? We used to forget what the question was. And at the end, he would say that only in 5 minutes, he used to say everything and say that, you connect the dots. One fine day, I went to him and I asked, how do you do this? You teach me, how do you do this? He said, he gave me an example. He said that teaching is like flying a kite. When you deliver a lecture, the sutra always needs to be in your hand. You know how far the kite needs to fly. As long as you are aware, as long as you know the thread, never miss the thread. If you hold the thread in your hand, even if you speak, even if you waste like me, like 5 minutes I have wasted, you need interval in between. You cannot go through an entire Upanishad class for 1.5 hours, especially looking at this space. It's impossible. I know, I understand that. It's highly difficult. Therefore, you need a breather in between. And during this breather, you should never forget the thread. And the thread is what makes us, or what brings us together. It's a beautiful mantra, Tantun Tanvan Rajaso Bhanumandrihi. It is usually used for Buddha Graha. But no, that mantra means something else. The connection between Deva and Pitru, how it is connected together, that is explained there. And not only Deva and Pitru, there are several other things. The 4 phases of life that every human being goes through, or that must go through, they have a common thread. Jagrat, the awakened state, that is the first phase of life, where the Purusha, the Jiva, experiences everything through the body, where the body can experience everything. That is called as Jagrat. This is the definition of Jagrat given in Prashnopanishad. We will deal with it in detail when we study Prashnopanishad. But just to understand what are these four phases of life: Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and Turiya. Okay. Just wanted to bring this point that Upanishads themselves have failed to describe the ultimate truth. Don't misquote this statement. What I mean is, nobody can describe what it is. It's very difficult because you won't exist. Your entire existence collapses, dissolves the moment you get to the truth. We get to the truth. No, we become the truth. Once we become the truth, there is no us remaining. And therefore, it's very difficult to describe it. Then, what about all these documents, all these literature that we have in Upanishad? You can stand at the Dahlij of any ghar, okay? The hostel. Okay? You can stand there and you can have a view of entire house, isn't it? And that's how our rishis have viewed this entire Upanishads. That's the location, that's the point where they have stood. It is different from Jagrat. They were not awakened at that state. Nothing happened to their body. You should see any yogi when they are in their samadhi. Nothing happens to you. You can beat them. They won't feel a thing because they are not experiencing through the body. Anything that is experienced through the body is happening during the awakened state. Then what happens during the dream state? Swapna. That is the second avastha. Everything is experienced through the mind. The mind is involved here. The psychologists will call it as conscious, subconscious. We don't want to get into that jargon, into that jungle. Anything that Purusha experiences through the mind is during the Swapnavastha. What happens in Sushupti Avastha? Nothing is experienced. This was the question. This is the fourth question in Prashnopanishad. There are 6 questions in Prashnopanishad. This is the fourth question. How do you define sleeping? This was the question. And sleep is described as absence of activity. So what we do is not sleeping. That is lying up to ourselves that we are sleeping. We are not sleeping. Because if we slept, it means that we must not remember anything. If I remember every single detail, I slept at 10:30 p.m. No, disqualified. You don't remember anything. That absence of activity happens only in Sushupti. And then there is fourth state. What is the name for that? No name for that. We will simply call it as Turiya, because the word Turiya in Sanskrit means the fourth one. They could not even come up with a name. Not because they did not have enough words with them. Because how will you describe it? I can't say it. The fourth one. The same thing happens with Ganga's tributaries. They say that Ganga, when it starts from Gangotri, it divides into 7. Do you know what are the names of 7 tributaries? You should go and see. In Ramayana, it is explained. And the name of the 7th tributary is Saptami. 7th one. We don't have a name. It's not necessary to name everything. We don't have a name. We simply call it as the 7th one. Likewise, the 4th avastha is called as Turiya. The Yoga Shastra calls it as Samadhi. Other Shastras describe it as Moksha. And that's what Upanishad is all about. Upanishad is about that Turiya avastha, that 4th state. To achieve that 4th state, while we are still here, while we hold this body, while this body is still living. Why do we need this body? Sharira madhyam khalu dharma sadhan. Yes, definitely. Yes, the word itself. The original word is chatuhu, and due to some grammatical jargon, what happens is the cha is removed and tu remains, and the pratyaya is added. Cha pratyaya is added. When cha pratyaya is added, there is another adesha to cha pratyaya called as iya, so that becomes turiya. That visarga, chatuhu is the original word. That visarga gets repha. Okay, I did not want to hurt your ears, like, what are you even speaking? We thought that this is Upanishad class. So that, but this is how the word Turiya is formed. So it means the fourth one. Instead of calling it as Chaturtha, they called it as Turiya. That's another word for Chaturtha, that's all. So Turiya means that ultimate state. And Adi Shankaracharya in his Yoga Taravali, the lesser known works of Adi Shankaracharya, not many people know, not even those who are into yoga are aware of a work, a fantastic work by Adi Shankaracharya named as Yoga Taravali. In fact, that was the first work that was taught to us as part of Shankaracharya studies when I was in Pathshala. So, in that Yoga Taravali, at the last shloka, Shankaracharya mentions that he asked this question. There are some shlokas which describe that when will I get this opportunity to roam around Vrindavan? Kada Brindaranye, ityadi, ityadi. The shloka goes like that. Using the same sense, same idea, Shankaracharya asks this, composes this poem at the end. He says that when will the birds make nests on my head? When will an ant hill grow upon me? What are you trying to say here? It means that I want to be in that samadhi where I lose the contact of this world. I don't know what is happening. I want the ant hill to grow by itself. When will I experience that? Asks Shankaracharya. I mean, he is not asking for himself, he is asking for us, on behalf of us. So that's called as, and in that shloka itself, he says that, and this is the state that our rishis have described. Najivitam, no maranam. They are not living because you cannot find their pulse, you cannot find them breathing. Okay, fine, let us pronounce them dead. No. Najivitam, no maranam. Then what is it? Vichitram. He calls it as Vichitra. We can't describe. That is Samadhi. So, with all our effort, we are trying to achieve something that is undescribable. That's the beauty of Upanishad. Some people say from unknown to known, or from known to unknown. Both are correct in this regard. When we talk of Upanishads, we hear that there are so many matas, so many perspectives regarding Upanishad. Is Advaita correct, or Dvaita correct, or Vishishtadvaita correct, or some other philosophy is correct? Which philosophy is correct? So the answer is, when we were children, they used to say that you cannot lift a bag of rice. Is that correct? Is that correct? Yes, of course it is correct, because a child cannot lift a 25 kg bag of rice. When that fellow grew up and became a young fellow, then he can lift that 25 kg of rice. And nobody questions. And when he is in the old age, again they say that you cannot lift. Now, which statement is correct? If you take this scenario to the courtroom, because the courts need to decide, they have to rule. And how do you rule? Can you rule anyone out and say that this is a wrong statement? You cannot. That is Upanishad. That is philosophy. That is Advaita, that is Dvaita, that is Vishishtadvaita. A seed contains an entire tree within itself. But when it is growing, it looks very small. When it is still a plant, it looks very small, very tender. But when it grows into a huge tree, can we call it tender? In the same tree exists leaves. And when the flower blooms, does that this hardness in the stem and the tenderness in those flowers, do they not exist together, coexist in the same entity? That's how Upanishadic truths or Upanishadic perspectives of different Advaita, Advaita, Vishishta, Advaita coexist in one big truth called as Brahma Vidya. That is Upanishad. We are not trying here to propagate any one philosophy. I'm sorry if I'm going to disappoint you, but that should not be the idea. The idea is to understand the Upanishad itself. Let us understand the seed itself. Once we get the seed, then the entirety of its growth into a tree can be understood by ourselves. And this is exactly what vikasa means. Vikasa and vikara are two words used in different perspectives, in different meanings in our Shastras. Vikasa is how we understand how a seed grows into tree. Vikara is when it takes a D route. It should not have taken this route. It took a wrong route. That's when it becomes Vikara. This is one meaning. Vikara also means when a particular thing changes its form, it manifests into something else. It is also known as Vikara. So, the moment we hear the word Vikara, we should not feel disgust. Yeah, it's Vikara. No, no, it's not like that. It doesn't work like that. So, Vikara and Vikasa both are very much an integral part. Fine. Moving on. So, these are the four avasthas. Upanishad definitely talks about the four avasthas: Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and Turiya. What is the basic idea behind all these things? If you have seen the movie Kantara, just before the climax, the English word for that is trance. I did not know. I just Googled it. They call it as trance. I then wondered, oh, what is this? Just before the climax, that fellow, uh, he gets into a certain state, which all of us can understand that he was not in his awakened state. It was something else. It was different from awakened. Let us keep it at that. It was different from the awakened state. At that moment, he utters a dialogue. If you have paid attention, then you would understand. He uses the word idu darshana. I think you are all aware. He said this is a vision. This is what Upanishad is based on. Darshana. What is darshana? We have to come to Upanishad now, slowly. I played along for 40 minutes. I thought, my time is over now. It gets serious now. So you will get to know how foolish I am now. This fellow knows nothing at all. And this is the moment from here onwards, you will understand that I know nothing. Okay, good luck to you. Now, that darshana. Darshana can be of both truth as well as untruth. That is the beauty of darshana. Both prama as well as brahma comes under darshana. Now, how do you determine that this is prama, this is brahma? Prama means yathartha jnana. Yathartha jnana means we are perceiving it as it is. Now, if we perceive it however we want, however we define, like how the world is moving today, that is Brahma, not Brahma. There is a huge difference between these two. Okay. So, if we are going to focus only on Brahma because we are not interested in Brahma, since we are elevated people, so we are here for Upanishad, therefore we are focusing only on Brahma. And even that Brahma has three categories. The first one is Sthula, second one is Sukshma, third one is Para. Sthula, Sukshma, and Para. The first one is a gross understanding of it, a very word to word meaning of what is Sahana Bhavatu. Saha Nau Avatu. Kaha Avatu, Athva Kim Avatu, we don't know. Who is going to protect us? Or what protects us? Or why do we need protection? Those are all Sukshma. The Sthula part is Saha Nau Avatu. Nau, that is, we both be protected. That's all. That is Sthula. Sukshma is to get deeper and deeper. Para is where we find the truth. Yomam pashyati sarvatra, sarvancha mai pashyati. Tasyaham na pranashyami, sachame na that level. That's what Gita Acharya said in Gita. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra. He who sees me in everything and who sees everything in me, I am very close to him. I am not deserted from him, and he shall never be far away from me. That's what Krishna said. It means that you will always be with him. That is the state, that is para. So these are the three darshanas that we have: Sthula darshana, Sukshma darshana, and Para darshana. We can reach only till Sukshma. And in order to reach to Para, we need a Guru. And then this happens in three different realms. The number three is of high significance in our Shastras. The Russians, our good friends, the Russians have a famous saying that is adopted from a Latin term, a Latin phrase, omne trium perfectum. Anything that comes in three is perfect. And the Russians believe it so. Anything that comes in three is perfect. So all three things, Sthula, Sukshma, Para. And now this happens in three different realms: Bhautika, Daivika, and Atma. It happens in the materialistic world, the Panchabhuta world. It happens in the Daivika Kshetra. It also happens in the Adhyatma Kshetra. And then, if we have the potential, you remember that example that I gave about the inventor of computer and how he would be sad if we did not use the computer to its fullest potential. The same thing is applicable here as well. This is the range that we have. We can exist in three realms: Adhyatmika, Adhidautika, Adhidaivika. Three realms we can exist. We can have three versions of Darshana: Sthula, Sukshma, and Para. That only in Prama we are talking. If this is the range that we are blessed with, each and every single human being, irrespective of where they belong, where they are born, how they are born, to whom they are born, every single human being is blessed with this kind of range. If this is the range that we have of our potential, how do we understand, how do we unlock this potential? Do we really seek perfection in our life as we claim, or is it something that we have told ourselves, a hypocritical lie, that we have been telling ourselves that yes, I am a perfectionist, I seek perfection? No. If we sought perfection in our life, then we would have been running around seeking the Paradarshana, looking for the third realm, looking for that fourth avastha. We do not have that intensity. The teacher used to ask that whenever I use the word teacher in English, it means my guru. Oh, okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Because sometimes the word guru does not bode well with the Royal English. Therefore, I have to use the word teacher. That's all. It's my guru. When small children, okay, when they are hungry, they are not able to understand it. I mean, they feel hungry, but they don't know how to express it. As we grow old, when we feel hungry, we not only can understand and comprehend that we are hungry, but we can also act upon it. In order to act upon it, a person needs to feel hungry, isn't it? We have not acted upon understanding or reaching the fourth state in our life because we have never felt that hunger. We have never felt that there is a necessity for this. If we have found that necessity, then what happens is we will definitely seek that purnata, that fulfillment, that completeness. The best examples in this world for those who seek perfection, for those who seek completeness, are small children. You prepare dosa at home. There is a small kid. That kid cannot eat an entire dosa. It doesn't have that capacity. You prepare a full dosa and you cut it into half and give it. The kid will not accept it. It will never accept it. The reason is quite simple. I need full dosa. That's what it asks, isn't it? That's the hunger that we have towards this body. That's the idea of perfection that we have. But when it comes to the three realms, but when it comes to the four stages, we conveniently have forgotten it. It's okay if we feel only Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti. We are leading a happy life. No, no, this is not happiness. I'm sorry, but whatever happiness that we are perceiving so far or we have perceived so far is not happiness. True happiness is understanding and fulfilling all the four stages of life: Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and Turiya. They have not reached Turiya. Therefore, no fulfillment, no completion. A circle is not a circle until it reaches its original point. If it reaches elsewhere, it is called by some other name. It is not a circle. It is called as chakli. It's not a circle, sorry, or it is a candy. But in order for that geometrical figure to become complete, it always needs to reach. It always needs to complete its path. It cannot say that I am going to stop here. So we need to develop that purnata, and that's purnata. That purnata is what is being tried to achieve in our Upanishads. If all these things are true, then if the words so far have generated even an iota of interest towards Upanishad, then the question that you need to ask is, what is the subject content of Upanishad? What is the prayojana? the motive, the outcome of Upanishad, the study of Upanishad, what is the relationship that we are going to share with this work, and who is eligible for the study of Upanishad. This is one way of approach. And this kind of approach is called as Anubandha Chatushtaya. Vishaya, Prayojana, Sambandha, Adhikari. Vishaya means subject, Prayojana is outcome or motive. The outcome itself is always the motive. If we have any other motive and if we are gaining some other outcome, it means we are confused. That's the reality actually. And then what is the relationship that we are going to have with this text? And the last one, eligibility. Who is eligible? This is where the part I start scaring you. Okay. But don't worry. This is a tough journey, but it's a journey nonetheless. And never remain in any kind of thing, any kind of fairy world that the speaker has already achieved all the eligibility criteria. No, no. I know only how to speak. So I'm also on the path of achieving this. Upanishad is very distant to us. You have heard that famous shloka of Bhagavad Gita, right? Where Krishna says that Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschid Yatati Siddhai. Out of thousands of people, one person tries to achieve Yatatamaphi Siddhanam. And amongst all those who try, only few succeed. And amongst those who succeed, Kaschin Mam Veti Tattvataha. Only one person knows me in entirety. So that's how distant we are from the truth. So let us not fool ourselves. We are going to achieve, we are going to try and understand and unlock the Upanishadic truth. But it's a long journey. I have to warn you. It's not going to happen overnight. 4 classes, at the end of 4th class, oh, I have achieved Samadhi. No, 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 no. I'm not making such false promises. You know, Nayamatma pravachanena labhyaha, na medhaya, na bahuna shrutena, yeme vaisha vrunute tena labhyaha. That is the truth told in Kathopanishad. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyaha. Oh, I have given hundreds of discourses on Upanishad. Good on you. You have done a good job to the society. But have you achieved Atma Sakshatkara? Have you seen that Purnadar? No. Okay, I have immense intellect. Let it be. We will award you. But that doesn't qualify you to have that Atma Darshana. For Atma Darshana, the Purusha himself needs to choose you. It doesn't happen when we choose. We get to choose when I get Atma Darshana. Atma chooses you. Paramatma chooses you. So we have to wait till then. How do we wait? Because we get anxious. So don't wait. You prepare the field. You know what a farmer does? He doesn't grow anything. He prepares the field every day. That's why it is called as Krishi. He only does the work. He only prepares the field. He plows the field, he sows the seed, and he waits. He waits for the rains to shower. And what helps in those seeds to manifest into trees or into plants? The rain, not the farmer. We are the farmers. We just need to plow the field that is within ourselves and sow the seed and wait patiently. It will happen. It will happen, but it takes time. So, first and foremost, what is Vishaya? Brahma is the Vishaya. Satya is the Vishaya. Or Tattva is the Vishaya. You call it by different names, that's all. And what is Prayojana? As we mentioned, becoming Brahma or becoming that Vidya, becoming that Satya itself is the Prayojana. That itself is called as Moksha, Samadhi, Turiya, whatever name you want. It's plenty. And then what is the Sambandha? The relationship that we share with this particular work that is called as Upanishad is that it proposes and we understand. This is the kind of relationship that we have. And finally, Adhikari. Still have 20 minutes. Oh, perfect. I prepared only for this much. This is what I wanted to speak in the first class about Adhikara Sampat. The eligibility criteria for the study of Upanishads, because this is an introductory class. How do you introduce a subject like Upanishad? You tell them what is the eligibility criteria. This is how introduction happens, isn't it? In every course, this is how introduction happens. You tell them that this is the eligibility criteria. If all of us uh, did not hear the eligibility criteria, then all of us would be like, Savita madam, all of us would be doctors. We are not. Because when they describe that these are the eligibility criteria, you have to study anatomy. No, you study. I can't. I cannot go and see a dead body getting dissected. And when they started, oh no, oh my God, no, is this how my body is? No. But everyone is eligible. So we need to say those terms and conditions that these are the eligibility criteria. But don't worry, even if some criteria scares us, there are certain solutions in order to achieve it. Because the entire purpose is to achieve these 10 criteria. There are 10. First and foremost, it's a huge number. What are those 10? The first one amongst them is Vairagya. Bye. See you. Never. What? You are scaring us. Vairagya. We have heard Vairagya means detaching ourselves from this world and moving to forest. There are no forests left. First and foremost, we turned whatever bacha kucha forest into resorts. So that is gone. The concept of forest is gone nowadays. These young children, when they grow up, they won't have the idea of forests, except in pictures and videos. They wouldn't have any idea of forests because those forests are gone. And even forests are crowded nowadays. But then what is Vairagya? Vairagya means detaching ourselves from the entitlement to the fruits of actions that we hold so dearly. The problem does not lie in expecting the results from your action. You have to expect. Without the expectation of results, one cannot involve themselves into any work. Prayojanam anuddishya na mandopi pravartat. Not even a fool would want to step into any work without a motive. There is always going to be a carrot dangling in front of us. Without the carrot dangling, we won't step up for the work. So that is that. So there is no problem in expecting the result. If I have worked this much, then I expect this much of result. The problem begins after this. When the result is achieved, when the result is given, when we are supposed to receive that result, we feel that we are entitled to this result. We own this result. That's where the problem begins. That mamatvam acts there. This is mine. That is the problem, isn't it? And that needs to be removed. That is what detachment means. To remove that entitlement. Okay? And that entitlement of fruits of our actions, when it is removed, then we have achieved Vairagya. And then the second one happens to be Viveka. In fact, in Viveka Chudamani, another famous work of Adi Shankaracharya, he gives a beautiful description of each and every one of these eligibility criteria. He calls Viveka as the foremost, he defines Viveka in the beginning and then Vairagya. I just changed the order. Vairagya is required. It's not told by me, it's a prescription. It's a divine prescription, if you can say so. Krishna said that, isn't it? This fellow, Arjuna, when he made a statement, he did not only question Krishna, he made a statement. He said that it's impossible to control the mind. Chanchalam himanah Krishna, that's a statement. Mind is chanchala. Pramathi, it's very hard. Balavat dridham, it's impossible to tame. Tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkiram. It's as difficult as it is to tame the wind. And in response, Krishna said, Asamshayam Mahabahu. You are absolutely right. There's no doubt mind is impossible to tame. But Abhyasena Kaunteya Vairagyena Chagrihyate. The word Vairagya is used by Krishna in this perspective. Why? Because Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Upanishads. All the Upanishads lead us to Vairagya. Only Vairagya. That doesn't mean wearing saffron robe. That doesn't mean running away from our responsibilities. No. You cannot run away from your responsibilities. It's about performing, discharging our duties, and at the same time, detaching ourselves from its entitlement. It's all about that entitlement. We think that we are entitled to something. We are not entitled to anything. That's the hard truth that need to be digested by us. Moving on. What is Viveka then? Viveka means Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka. What is truth and what is untruth. We need to have the distinguishing power between truth and untruth. It is required. That is a prerequisite. You can also call it as prerequisites for the study of Upanishads. The first prerequisite is Vairagya. The second prerequisite is Viveka. Then Shama, Dama, Uparati, and Shama, and it comes with a group of six, and then Mumukshutva. The third one is Mumukshutva. What is Mumukshutva? Moktum Ichha Mumuksha. This is how usually Mumuksha is defined, isn't it? Mumuksha means Moktum Ichha. Like how Jignasa is defined. Jnatum Ichha Jignasa. Likewise, Moktum Ichha Mumuksha. But how can we understand Mumuksha? Right. Now, in order to have the desire to moktum, to release oneself, when do you use the word release? When you have felt that you have been bound by something. Without the understanding of bondage, there is no purpose of using the word release. The desire to release ourselves from avidya. It's a very simple definition. But how has avidya held us together? Or how has avidya made us into a certain bondage? We are like, bonded by us. How has it happened? We need to understand that. And then if we get the desire to get rid of all the bondages created by avidya, that is called as mumuksha. Mumuksha itself is highly difficult to achieve. None of these prerequisites are as easy as they sound. They sound very easy, very simple. Mumuksha, what is mumuksha? Moktum. No, it's not that easy, not that simple. And Adi Shankaracharya says that two things out of all these 10 prerequisites, two things are of highest value: mumuksha and vairagya. Sorry, see, the two prerequisites which are highly difficult to achieve. It almost seems like we are setting some goals that are almost unachievable. Don't worry, there are some achievable goals as well. The first one is Shama, control over Indriyas. This can be done. Very easy, isn't it? Very easy, absolutely very easy. The task is 1.5 hours, 90 minutes. You are not supposed to flinch. Sit as it is. It's not. You are being very cruel to us. Shama, control over Indriyas. Dhamma means control over mind. They work as wingbacks. Usually, I explain this entire prerequisites using a football formation. But I know this is an elevated audience, so I did not even speak about that. Usually comes in 3-4-3 formation. 3 in the defense, 4 in the middle, and 3 in the attack. Yeah, seriously, that's how I perceive, and that's how I teach these young students. They are attracted by the thing that 3-4-3 means they understand football. They know how football team works. 3 in the defense. Shraddha, Titiksha, Samadhanam in the defense. This is what defend us. We need to practice Shraddha, we need to practice Titiksha, we need to practice Samadhanam. We will understand what these 3 are. And then a proper midfield, strong defensive midfield is required. A commander, that is Mumuksha. Mumuksha is what drives us, that is the driving force. Ichha is always the driving force. You had the Ichha, that's why you drove till here. That is always the driving force. So that is the commander place. And then Shama and Dhamma as wingbacks at either end. They give us the width because we understand how difficult it is in the outer world. In order to achieve all these things, you need the control of Indriyas, you need the control of mind. And then Uparati, that sleekiness that you require. You stay in this world, but you don't get attached to this world. That is called Uparati. Analambanam, Bahyanalambanam Uparati. That's how Uparati is defined. We don't rely too much heavily upon the outer sources or outer materials, that is Uparati. And once you have this Uparati, it becomes very easy for you to move forward. Then you have two wingers, Viveka and Vairagya. That's why I defined them in the first stage, Viveka and Vairagya. Once you have those wings, you can fly. Earlier, in old Kannada, there used to be a word for a Brahmana. That word was Haruvaya. I don't know how many of you have heard this word. They used to call a proper Jnani as a Haruvaya. Why was he called as a Haruvaya? Haruvaya means one who flies. Did he have wings? No. Did he drink too much of Red Bull? No. Is it Red Bull gives you wings? That kind of advertisement? No, no, not because of that. It's because he had that ability to fly at any given point of time from this materialistic world to another realm. The access to three realms, from Adi Bhautika to Adi Devika to Adhyatmika, the transition, the transcend, was so easy for him. That's why he was called as Haruvaya. And we have missed it. We can't even access Adi Devika that easily. Forget about Adhyatma. That's how difficult it has become. Because when you do not use any machine for a very long time, what happens? It loses its capacity. This is a machine. We have not used it to its fullest potential. Therefore, we have forgotten that how to utilize it. Fine. Now, Shama and Dama you have understood. The next one is Uparati. Let us discuss about Uparati. What does Uparati mean? Oh, still have 10 minutes. Okay. I was speeding up, but no, you can still take some time. Uparati means Bahya Analambanam, not relying on the outer materialistic world. We usually do that. We tend to do that a lot. We think that we are dependent on something. We have we have had this notion since so long that we feel that we cannot survive without this. Bahya alambanam. We have relied upon this so heavily that if we remove this from our life, it starts feeling like, I'm missing something. You are not missing anything. It's only the over reliance on the materialistic world that needs to be removed. This is somewhat equivalent to the pratyahara of Ashtanga Yoga, where you casually and gradually, eventually, you remove yourself from the outer world. That is Uparati. Bahyanalambanam, that's why they called it as Vrittehe. Vritti means Chitta Vritti. The thoughts. The thoughts need to be slowly removed from its dependence, from its reliance on the outer world. That is called as Uparati. One of the highly difficult prerequisites to achieve, because it's very technical, highly technical, because there are certain stories in Bhagavata and other Puranas. There was a person who had achieved Samadhi. His name was Jadabharata. He was a great saint. The problem was, one day he saw a small deer. It was hurt. He got compassion. He took the deer. He brought it to ashrama. He got attached to the deer so much that in the next birth, he became the deer. The great yogi, he turned into a deer. You look how Bahya Alambanam works, because he thought that he did not think that he is dependent on the deer. He thought that the deer is dependent on him. See, dependency works both ways. It's not a one-way route. If you think that I am only dependent on someone, it's wrong. It's always codependence. And codependence in the outer world can be a pitfall for someone who wants to perceive the highest truth. Example, Jadabharata. That's why Uparati is highly difficult. Even for those who have achieved Samadhi, the slope is very slippery. That's why Uparati is at that point. That's where usually the famous guys play in football. The kinds of Lionel Messi, they play in that role. It's very difficult to control them, isn't it? Because they know how to escape. They don't get attached with anyone. And that's the quality, that's the attribute that we need to learn from Uparati. And then moving on, the solid ones, the defense, Shraddha, Titiksha, and Samadhana. First and foremost, this happens to be my personal favorite one. And as I said, This is the first thing that Krishna told Arjuna to do. Titikshasva. What is titiksha? Sahanam sarvadukkhana. To go through all the pain, all the misery that life is going to throw at us. We are anyway doing it. We have titiksha, isn't it? Because we are surviving. We are the greatest survivors in this world. The definition does not end there. Sahanam sarvadukhanam apratikara purvakam. You are not supposed to act against it. You understood this point, right? We are not supposed to act against it. If we are getting any pain, we are not supposed to go search for a solution. We just have to accept it, acknowledge it, accept it, go through it. Prarabdhan tviha bhujyatam. That's all. Just go through it. Hey, this is no. This is not how we became survivors. We became not only survivors, we became conquerors. You can save that story. It means that only one part of titiksha we had, even that faded away. But the definition did not end there. Sahanam sarvadukkhana, apratikara purvakam. There are some people who don't act upon it. They just go through it. It's fine. But they go to a counselor. That's how counselors make a living. Isn't it? You, you pay them to listen to your story. I'm not ridiculing the profession. But it is not titiksha. If you want to practice titiksha, the third part of the definition says, chinta vilapa rahitam. You are not merely asked to go through or sustain everything as it is. You have to sustain all the pain, the misery, everything without acting against it, and also without thinking about it, without worrying about it, and also without whining about it. Most important point, chinta vilaparahitam. Adi Shankaracharya did not say that chinta rahitam, vilaparahitam. This is where all of us are disqualified. None of us qualify to have titiksha. And what was Arjuna doing? Remember that? He was not only worried, he was whining about it. Do you know, Krishna, what happens after the war? Hey, I know. Don't give me a lecture about what happens after the war. He was giving a lecture. That's why he said that prajna vadanscha bhashase. You are not a scholar. You only speak like a scholar. Like me. Not a scholar. Speak like a scholar. Arjuna was like that. Prajna vadanscha bhashase. Titiksha. That's why he said trans titiksha swabharata. Practice titiksha. Sahanam sarvadukha. That's why it is in the defense. The defenders sustain everything. They don't cry. Oh, that that attacker, he hit me. Of course, you are going to get hit. That's why you are a defender. See, titiksha. And then comes the most important part and most misinterpreted word, shraddha. Faith. Faith in what? Religion. That's not our concept. That's an invaded concept, which means courtesy of invaders. Coined a new term, invaded concepts. Invaded concept, courtesy of invaders. They gave that as a gift. They bestowed upon us, and we have apna liya hai. We have accepted it. Yes. We belong to this religion. What religion? Okay. Shraddha. Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya. Shastra and the Guru Vakya. Whatever your Guru says. Satya Buddhyavadharana. You should believe that it is Satya. It is truth. It is truth and nothing but truth. And this kind of confidence that you have, this kind of faith that you have over Shastra as well as Guru Vakya, Sa Shraddha Kathita. That is called as Shraddha. And only through Shraddha we are able to achieve anything. This is the achievable goal. You can mark this as achievable goal. We can develop Shraddha. That immense faith, the kind of faith Lakshmana had on Rama. I'm sorry, I give examples only from Ramayana. I've studied only Ramayana, nothing else. I don't know anything at all. He had that immense faith in Rama. Rama asked him to prepare fire. When Sita asked to prepare fire, he prepared fire. He knew that Sita was going to jump into that fire. Okay, I am doing my job. He never questioned his brother. Never, not even once. That is the kind of faith that we need. Agnya Gurunam Avicharaniya. Kalidasa says that. The order given by a guru should not be discussed, should not be put to discussion. Like, is this right? Will this fetch us result? You don't do that. You simply follow Satya Buddhyavadharana. This is Shraddha. What is Samadhanam then? We have heard the word Samadhanam. Chur Samadhana Madkuli. No, not that kind of Samadhana. Adi Shankaracharya, Natu Chittasya Lalanam, he's very clear about it. Onchur Samadhana Madkuli, Innu Samadhana Aglilva, that all refers to Chittasya Lalanam. We are trying to, help, pacify our mind. Like, it's okay, everything will be all right. These kind of things. That is not Samadhanam. What is Samadhanam then? Samyak Asthapanam Buddhe. Buddhe Asthapanam. Buddhi, our intellect, needs to have the perfect vision, needs to have a perfect motive. What is that? Shuddhe Brahmani. Finished. Okay. In Shuddha Brahma. That is in ultimate truth. I should know that the ultimate truth is the goal of my life. As long as I don't have this much of clarity regarding my goal, I do not have samadhana. And this is not only in Upanishad class I have clarity about my life, that I only want to achieve the greatest truth in my life. After Upanishad class, sarvada, that's why the word sarvada is used there. Shuddhe Brahmani sarvada. Okay. Tat samadhanam ityuktam. This is called as samadhana. Natu chittasya lalanam, not chittasya lalanam. Okay. So if you count, did you get all the 10? Shraddha, Titiksha, Samadhanam, Uparati, Shama, Dama, Viveka, Vairagya, and Mumuksha. 9. Titiksha is over. I think I have covered all 9, isn't it? Wonderful. The only thing that is missing is the 10th one. The most important position in the football field. Who is that? The goalkeeper. The keeper of our goal. Guru. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Guru. Without Guru, nothing is going to happen. I have tried to achieve all these prerequisites, but I don't have a Guru. Good luck to you. You can't achieve anything without Guru. Guru is vital. And anybody whom you meet in a tea shop and share a tea with them is not a Guru. En Guru tea kudiyan? No. Not that Guru. Akshara Vandata Kalisidatam Guru. No. Sorry. If that line in Kannada can be interpreted as Vandu, that is Ekam, and Aksharam. Om Ityeka Aksharam Brahma. That Upanishadic line. If we can associate that Kannada line with this Upanishad line, then he is a proper Guru. And if you are considering Akshara as alphabets, I am sorry. They are teachers, they are guides, they are Upadhyayas, not Guru. You don't use the word Guru to anyone and everyone. That has become, somebody calls themselves as Sadguru, Jagadguru, that Guru, this Guru. No, I'm sorry. You don't get to claim that title. If you are claiming, it means entitlement is there, no? Where did we discuss about this entitlement? Vairagya. That clearly shows that you don't have the prerequisite for Upanishad. You are not supposed to have any entitlement over anything. And how come you can claim that I am a Guru? No. Then who is a Guru? Gu means andhakar, darkness, courtesy of avidya. We will discuss what is avidya. All these things are hidden in Upanishad. But my point here is, we are trying to achieve these 10 prerequisites, yes, including Guru. Where do you search for Guru? There is no location for Guru. Himalayas? Where? Yame Vaisha Prunute Tena Daksha. We don't find a Guru. The Guru finds us. So when the Guru is going to find us, up until then, we need to prepare the field. We need to prepare ourselves when he finds us, so that when he finds us in that optimum level where the work can begin easily and we can achieve the goal. That's why our life is all about preparation. The preparation to find the Guru. The preparation to achieve that titiksha. All these things. So there are 3 examples, 3 rules, or 3 nyayas that we can say, in order to understand how the relationship between, 1 minute, relationship between Guru and Shishya works. Okay. The first one is Markata Kishora Nyaya. Okay. Markata Kishora Nyaya. Markata means a monkey. Now the question is, who holds whom is the question. Does the baby monkey hold on to its mother, or does the mother monkey holds on to its baby? What is the truth? The truth is, mother doesn't care. It gives only one task to its baby. You cling on to me, and under no circumstances you shall leave me. And you have never heard any news that says that baby monkey died during a mishap. It doesn't happen because it never leaves. Shraddha. Monkey has Shraddha. That baby monkey has Shraddha over its mother's words. It has taught it that's why we call it as Kapi Mushti. Because once that monkey holds on to something, it never leaves. That's the kind of relationship that we need to have with our Guru. If you find a Guru and if you hold on to that Guru, you don't leave. Because you are going to be subjected to the second level of examination. Marjara Kishoranyaya. Marjara means a cat. Do you know how a cat holds on to its kitten? Through its, through its teeth. The same set of teeth that uses to catch hold of its prey. For the rest of the world, it appears as if it is hurting its own kitten, but it doesn't hurt. You can't find a small scratch on the kitten when the cat holds with the same teeth, the same set of teeth. That's how a guru holds on to you. That's how the guru lifts you up. Painless. In Kannada, we say, who etidanga. That's how painless it is. If we surrender like a baby monkey, then he lifts us like the mother cat. And the ultimate level of Guru Shishya Sambandha, especially when it comes to Upanishad, is Matsya Kishoranyaya. Matsya is the fish. They say that in an ocean, if either of them remember each other, they will meet as soon as possible. And that's how the Guru Shishya Sambandha works. At times, you just need to think on your Guru, and everything comes to you. Everything just, the dots are connected for you. It happens. It definitely happens. For that, you need a Guru. For that, you need to practice all these prerequisites. So the whole idea of teaching or going through the texts of Upanishad, there are 10 principal Upanishads. Oh, fact, sorry, I forgot. Isha, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Mundaka, Mandukya, Aitareya, Daitiriya, Chandogya, Brihadaranya. 10 Upanishads. I've already said. Factually corrected. Okay. Otherwise, the class was about Upanishad, its relevance in the modern day. The guy did not even speak about the 10 Upanishads. Factually, I have said, isn't it? Yeah. You, you don't miss on the facts. You mention the facts. Now you understand. Do you think these facts really matter? The knowledge of 10 Upanishads. If you learned the names of 10 Upanishads after you heard this lecture, entire lecture, do you think does it really matter to know the names of these 10 Upanishads? Now you are wondering, our task in life should be, the study of Upanishad should definitely lead us to achieving and unlocking at least one prerequisite. One prerequisite. Nothing comes easy. If we think that Titiksha is easy, no. Shraddha. Therefore, my purpose of going through these 10 Upanishads is to find out how we can imbibe, how we can develop, how we can apply these 10 prerequisites in our day-to-day life. This is the study of Upanishad. Upanishad will say something that there are 5 pranas, 5 agnis, that truth, this truth. What will we do with all these things if we are not able to apply them into our day-to-day life? What matters is yaha, idhar, not even yaha, idhar. In all the languages, illi always begins with e. Atra. In Sanskrit, it begins with a, but you have that sound, atra. Do you know how do we make that pronunciation of alli? Tatra. The word itself is like that. Ali, there. The distance is that long. That's why we need that darshana. From sthula to sukshma to para. In order to achieve the four phases of life, four stages of life, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and Turiya. These are the fundamental principles or fundamental motives of the study of Upanishad. Whether you study Isha or Kena or Chandogya or Brihadaranyaka, the smallest of Upanishads or the biggest of Upanishads, it doesn't matter. Whether you study one line of Upanishad or 1,000 lines of Upanishad, all that matters at the end of the day is, have we achieved these 10 prerequisites? Do we have a guru? Do we have titiksha? Do we have uparati? Do we have vairagya? Do we have mumuksha? And by this, I'm taking only 5 minutes extra. Sorry, it won't happen again. So with this, I want to conclude this talk. And if there are any questions regarding this lecture, you are free to ask. You will get to know the questions there, or huh. Oh, see, the mother fish and the baby fish, when they remember each other, it could be only the mother fish or it could be only the baby fish. If either of them remember about any of them, then they meet together very quickly, very soon they meet together. I mean, there is no theory that proves this. I mean, it's not evident to us like how it was in the case of a monkey and a cat, but this is how the theory goes. This is what they say. Also, it's very clear that this is the highest level of that sambandha, that shlishtatva to have, which is highly impossible for many of us to achieve. How do we understand? When we think that Guru is a person, it is highly impossible to make this happen. Guru is not a person, it's a tattva, it's a Shakti, it's an energy. And we have to see that Shakti beyond the Vyakti. And to go beyond the Vyakti towards Shakti is the task. That's why it's a bit difficult, but anyway, this is the definition of Matsya Kishoranyaya. Any other questions? Oh, yeah, of course, I have to ask you people. You are, everything for us. Is there any question? Can we access it? Oh, oh. They can ask the question here also. Oh, okay. Okay. Yes. From next week onwards, that is next class onwards, we will be starting with Ishavasya Upanishad. It is also called as Isha Upanishad. So the reference book you can find online as well. There are plenty of literature available on Upanishads. But preferably, if you can go through the English translation of S. Radhakrishnan, because he has relied heavily upon the traditional texts and he has not swayed away in search of fancy things. So he stays very indigenous in his commentaries. So the principal Upanishads, that is the title of the book. I think the PDF is also shared in the group. You can either go with the PDF, or if you are not comfortable with it, if you want a physical copy, you can order it online. I think it's available on Amazon, 800, 900 something. So it's a must-have book in every Indian house, if you ask me. The principal Upanishad, it's a bit big book, around 1,000 pages, I guess, but that's one book that you can always refer to. That is one in all kind of book. Because for me, it makes no sense in suggesting 3 or 4 references. It shows that I myself do not have any. Oh, sorry. Oh, it means that I myself do not have any clarity about what book should I refer. But for reference, this much is sufficient. Yes, Radhakrishnan's English commentary on the principal Upanishads. Ah, yes, we will. What I have thought is, we will read the mantra, not with its Vedic swaras and all, because it will be very difficult. Therefore, we will read the shloka. That shloka is also available both in Sanskrit as well as in its transliteration. We will read the shloka, and then we will go through the meaning and what exactly does it mean. Very simply, not getting into any sort of Advaita versus Advaita, Vishishtadvaita. No. No such theories will be brought. I promise you this. No such theories will be brought. It will be purely about understanding that mantra in its own perspective, in its original meaning. What does it mean exactly? Then further, if you feel like reading Advaita Mata or Advaita or Vishishta Advaita according to your taste, that's up to you. I won't suggest anybody to read. And whenever I say or whenever I use the praise Adi Shankaracharya, that's not from the fact or the perspective that I am an Advaitin, that's why I praise Adi Shankaracharya. He deserves accolades from anybody. Whoever reads Adi Shankaracharya have no other option but to applaud him because he has been so precise in his words. The problem is with the consequent commentaries on Adi Shankaracharya. That's where this fight has begun. Adi Shankaracharya himself does not propagate Advaita as such that we know. He calls it as Upanishadikam. It means that all the things that he has derived, his darshan, is on the basis of Upanishads, the truth of Upanishads. So we are going to deal with the truth of Upanishads, and that will be the format from next week onwards, where we will take few mantras, the concept, based on the concept, and we'll go through 4 or 5 mantras. There will be questions, and each and every word we will try to understand. It's not like simply giving the summary. Each and every word of that mantra will be dealt in detail. Not that kind of detail, how Turiya, the word Turiya was formed, not that kind of detail, don't worry. The meaning kind of detail. Because that much is required. That is also required for those people who take out the life from anything. They take life out of everything. They are the specialists in word anatomy. They dissect the word. I'm not going to do it. I'm basically a scientific. We prefer rasa. Rasa is sara. We are going to keep the word as it is. We are going to understand its depth. So if there are no more questions, I think we can move on to the Brahma Sutras are also explaining the same truth, but they are in the form of sutras. And Upanishads belong to Vedas. Upanishads are a part of Vedas. They are not separate from Vedas. The highest part of Upanishad, the highest level of Veda, or the end point of Veda, is called as Upanishad. Therefore, Vedanta does not mean philosophy. Vedanta means the end part. Sorry. The end, the end part of Veda, that is Upanishads. Therefore, Upanishad is Vedanta, not philosophy. Upanishad means Vedanta, the end part of Veda. Uh, did I answer the question? Okay. So the same truth has been told in very cryptic way in Brahma Sutras, in an elaborated way, in very elaborated way in Upanishads, in a summarized version in Bhagavad Gita. That's why this is the Holy Trinity that we have, the Prasthanatraya. Oh, now I got the answer. I think I got the answer for you now. The difference between Brahma Sutra and Upanishads is it's an elaborated version of the truth. Brahma Sutra is a very cryptic way. I have to use the word cryptic because that's why it is a sutra. So very shortly they have used Janmadhyasya Yataha. Who will understand this? It proves so many things. That sutra itself proves, reveals so many details of Upanishads. Upanishads are the detailed version. The thing is, one needs to study all these three and then bring them together. That's the beauty of study of these three. It's incomplete if you don't study Brahma Sutras and if you don't study Bhagavad Gita. If you study only Upanishads, it's incomplete. You have to study all three. The real beauty, the true beauty lies in when you bring in all those three into the straight line. So that's the difference. So if it is okay, then can we have the class on 16th Friday instead of 17th Saturday? If we can have the class on 16th Friday, uh, two more questions. Okay, okay. Ah, correct, correct. This is very tricky question. Okay, I have a trick answer as well. The first authority when it comes to Upanishad Bhashya is that which reveals the true meaning. Trick answer. What a trick question. Because the meaning, the purpose of having a Bhashya is to elaborate the truth. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay, okay, one minute. This is much better. Okay. So the purpose of any Vyakhyana or any Bhashya is to remove the unwanted things and reveal the truth as it is. So whichever Bhashya does this is the authority. We cannot claim that everything in one particular Bhashya is authoritative. We cannot claim that. There could be different bhashyas authoritative in different mantras, in different prasangas, in different adhikaranas. Therefore, anything that reveals the true version, true idea, or even to say that Rishi Hridayam, the bhashya that reveals the Rishi Hridayam of that mantra, is the authoritative bhashya. That's how we can come to the conclusion. Okay. What is the most important and accessible quality that we common people have that can start us off on the path of achieving the 10 qualities? Sorry, I need to read it again. Most important, accessible quality. Shama and Dhamma. You start with Shama and Dhamma. That is where we begin. That's the starting point. Control over mind and control over our sense organs, and then we slowly practice Vairagya. When Krishna said Abhyasa and Vairagya, Abhyasa related to Shama and Dhamma, and then slowly Vairagya. So these are the two important places where we can begin the journey. If we haven't found the Guru, does that mean we are not ready? How to win the grace of the Guru? Uh, by preparing ourselves every single day, by staying hungry, not to fill our stomach, but staying hungry for realizing ourself, the capital S self. That's the only way to go ahead and seek the Guru. Everyone would examine. The problem is we have been accustomed to a certain version of education these days. That is, they teach us first and then they examine. That is the wrong way of teaching. Earlier in Gurukula, there used to be examination first and then they used to teach. They used to examine how deeply, how badly, how dedicatedly, and how devotedly does this person want to know the truth. And once his true potential was realized by the Guru, then he would teach. Exam and teaching, not the other way around. Now, since we belong to this generation of teaching and examination, we think that, ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಿದ್ರು ಗುರು ಸಿಗ್ತಾರೆ, that kind of thing. That is not possible. That's not how these things work. Therefore, all we can do is prepare ourselves for the thorough examination. Just imagine, who knows that your guru is already examining you, how good you are, how dedicated you are towards the truth. See, staying dedicated 1 day or 2 days when you watch a video on Upanishads or when you listen to a discourse on Upanishads is one thing, but to maintain that for a long time, even when you don't find the light, even when you don't find the result, that's the real task. Any practical exercises to achieve the qualities? That's not that's not with me, because I cannot give any practical exercises like that. The thing is, there is a question, there is a debate in Yoga Taravali where the question is asked that how many yoga margas are there? The answer is infinite. As many human beings are there, as many yoga margas are there, because each and every human being is a different constitution. They are constituted in a different way. We don't know how to unlock them. We don't know how to unlock ourselves. Forget about knowing someone else how to unlock them. So only a proper guru can give such kind of an exercise. He should know how your format works, or how your entire system works. when people don't know our version, then it becomes highly complicated. Therefore, resolving to such practical exercises without the proper guidance of a proper guru is dangerous. uh, the study of Upanishads will slowly lead us into developing that hunger for Guru. We become like, we should become like those Chataka Pakshi. I don't know the English version of that bird. There is a famous bird which longs for the rain, which waits for the rain. It opens its mouth and waits for the raindrops to fall. We should be like that. We should be waiting patiently. So I think that is the only practical exercise. Yeah, that doesn't mean that you have to go and sit on the terrace, open your mouth. Not that kind of practical exercise. I only meant that uh, to the last inch of our body, to the grossest part of our body, we should have that intense intention to find a guru. So that's the only practical exercise that I can suggest. That is not controversial and feasible as well at the same time. I think I think if there is any issue on 16th, if since it is Friday, if it is not possible to what is this? It need not be at 6. It can be from 7 as well, if time is a constraint. On, okay, 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 fine. Anyway, we will see. Uh, we will discuss anyway. We are all in the same group. So. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So we will all. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, we can.
We profusely thank Shri Vishwanath ji for taking out his precious time and taking us through this wonderful journey of the introduction session of understanding Upanishads and the relevance of the same in today's times. He has started beautifully establishing the relevance of Upanishad in the modern time with many stories and examples which we can relate to. And we have, in this session, we have understood Vishaya, the subject, what we are going to learn in the coming days. Prayojana, the outcome, why we are all here gathered together for the sessions. And the Sambandha, the relationship. And Adhikari, the eligibility criteria, the toughest part to accomplish. But let's all strive towards being eligible to fulfilling the eligibility criteria and be adhikaris to understand the Upanishad, as mentioned by Vishwanath ji. Let's begin our journey from Sthula to Sukshma to Para. Our journey has started from Sthula in this life. So let's continue this journey. And I humbly request, and it has been really wonderful to see the child also attending this session. It is the hope for our future. And really, thank you. What's your name? Huh? Upamanyu? Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much for coming and sitting here throughout the session very patiently. Yeah, youngest participant. What's your age? 10 years old child is attending the session offline here. Wonderful. So he has been one of the student of our faculty, Arvind sir, and I request all the participants from Bangalore to make it possible to attend the sessions offline. It's an altogether different experience to attend the sessions offline. And I thank all the participants who are attending online to continue your participation, the way you have, shared your comments, questions, etc. Really, thank you for that. It has been enlightening for all of us. And please spread the word about these sessions. Please bring in more people who are interested. It is just by word of mouth that we get to know about such sessions and people get to participate in these sessions. So I wholeheartedly thank each one of you for being here. Thank you so much. You make the session You bring the life to the session. Apart from what life sir is giving, it's all of you. So thank you so much. Look forward to the next session. Here we end the stream also, and thank you all.